whenever anything is not going his way, he lashes out with unnecessary anger and borderline violence.
That comment from George Russell has come to fruition once again in Formula 1 as Max Verstappen's dark side has come to the forefront at the Spanish Grand Prix, resulting in him colliding intentionally into the side of Mercedes' George Russell, resulting in a 10-second time penalty, dropping him from 4th all the way down to 10th. Now, I don't really know about you, but I saw that head loss from Verstappen happening a mile off before it even unfolded. And that's all to do with the decision Red Bull took to put him on the hard tyre for the safety car restart. It is a decision I still, to this moment as I'm recording, do not understand where their logic in that situation came from. And that unfortunately led to a series of events, a series of chain reactions, not only from what happened out on track, but also with his team through team radio, that led to his absolute head loss and colliding into George Russell. And this is that series of events.
And Oscar Piastri is leading here, and Max Verstappen's under pressure from Charles Leclerc already, and you can see the big snap from Verstappen as he won. Then comes Norris, then Leclerc, Russell on the inside of Verstappen, who has to go off the track.
Can you let Russell through, please? Let Russell through.
No, I was ahead, people.
I advise us to let through.
Now, in no way am I excusing his behaviour, far from it. We'll get to that a little bit later on in this video. But I do understand why he was getting so kind of heated in the cockpit after the decisions made by the team and what actually happened to him out on the racetrack. I do believe, if I'm looking at the back straight along the pits, Leclerc does slightly veer to the left and drive into Verstappen momentarily, and of course that then continued on into the first corner with Russell slamming into him into the front wheels and Verstappen having to take to the escape road in turn 1 through turn 2. Now that of course then led to both Verstappen and Russell being under investigation, which was something I did expect to happen. Now, what I didn't expect to hear from his team was to actually recommend he gives the place to Russell. I don't think it was a decision the team had to make at that moment. I think they could have held back on that and just let the race unfold as it did. And in fact, his team were completely in the wrong to ask him to give the position to George Russell, because in the steward's actual decision, and we've now gotten the documentation, the stewards actually state they would not have made any decision in the favour of Russell with that particular turn 1 moment. They would have left Verstappen alone and not actually penalised him for going out around the outside and gaining a lasting advantage. So his team were in fact wrong to even suggest, as I said, to even let Russell through. They should have let the race unfold and see what happened. And incidentally, Verstappen is now just 1 point away from a Grand Prix ban. He's got 11 points out of 12 in a 12-month period. So he's now literally very much teetering on the edge of a race ban. Now, who Red Bull will get in to drive the car, I have no idea. But unfortunately, we know what happened. The team came on the radio, Gianpiero Lambiase, and he said, give the position back. And I know at that moment, Verstappen has absolutely lost his head. Not only is he thinking, I've been put on these absolute pile of rubbish tyres, in the hard tyres, I've then had a huge moment coming out of the final corner, a tank slapper that I've caught. I've then been turned into ever so slightly by Leclerc. And then finally, the fourth piece of that chain reaction is then Russell going into the side of me. I would have lost my head. And to be quite honest, Lando Norris's comment in the cool down room after the race kind of sums up, I'm sure, the situation Verstappen's head was in.
I've done that before in Mario Kart.
Now, as for the 10-second penalty the stewards decided to hand Verstappen, that is what I do not agree with, and it's a decision I don't understand how they came to. I would have liked them and preferred them to actually hold back on giving him that 10-second and getting the points of view from both Russell and him in the actual kind of stewards room. And I personally, if I'm in charge, I would have either disqualified him from the race because he intentionally drove into another driver, or at the very least given him a 5 or 10 place grid penalty for the Canadian Grand Prix in a fortnight's time. I think that was a much more reasonable penalty to award him, and it would have severely compromised his next race, because I think really 10 seconds, even though it puts him down in 10th position, it really doesn't do anything to me personally. I think you need to set more of a precedence. I think if that situation unfolded a lot earlier in the race without a safety car, or with the result of a safety car, he would have been able to then fight his way back through the field and probably finish in the top 5, considering the pace of the RB21. And that's why I think holding back and giving him a major penalty for the upcoming next event is the better option for the stewards. That's what I would have personally liked them to have dished out to Verstappen. But anyway, let me know your comments and your feelings on Verstappen's crazy head loss at the end of that race. I would love to know everything that you think of it. I know it's not something we haven't seen in the past, and I'm sure it's something we will see again in the future. And that is where I'm going to wrap this video up. Hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, do leave a like on this video, comment down below anything you want. And of course, if you're new here on F1 Unraveled and have enjoyed the content, smash the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Alright everyone, I'll catch you all in the week.